Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's the guy who, like Mike, is 100 years old. I am Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our feedback show here for episode number 9 of Survivor 42. And I am so excited to have with me a person that I've been trying to get with me here on the feedback show for some time. She has a very busy life. We have not been able to get her on the feedback show yet this season. Of course, she's very busy these days, talking about all the mess in celebrity and pop culture with her podcast co-host, Kirsten McInnes. Please welcome one half of the new Mess Magnets podcast. It's Sasha Joseph. Sasha, how are you?
Wow. I can't believe I made it. I'm so excited. It's 8 a.m. here in the West Coast. But, here we are. And I just, wow, what an episode to talk about. I was like, yeah, feedback show. I'm so excited. It's going to be light. We'll
We're gonna have fun. Yeah.
Just like be silly. Here we are.
Yes.
Of course I get this.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk about everything, but I think that I still want to get your thoughts on everything that's going on in Survivor 42. It has been a season where I think for the most part, like the cast has had a lot of fun on social media, has been brought a little bit of that mess to the good mess to Twitter. So
Yes.
we like that.
Yeah, I really like them online. I think they're so funny. I think Zach and Maryanne are my favorite because I just love that they're married. They're Twitter married, which obviously is the most official way you can get married, in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah. But you know what? Stop teasing us.
Yeah.
That
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it. What's the holdup here, Zach and Maryanne?
Rob can officiate. Maybe Jeff can, but
Jeff can officiate. I'll officiate. Sure.
Yeah, let's
don't
make
just
it
taunt
happen.
us. Yeah.
No, listen, we are about action, okay? Even though we talk like literally for, Rob does it for a living, but no, action. Okay, so what do you need? Should we change the know-it-alls into marriage-it-alls? Like what is it needed?
Yeah, so we used to have love know-it-alls.
True.
Yeah, Stephen can be involved with that. Can you tell people a little bit about the idea for Mess Magnets, which is a brand new podcast in its second week?
Yeah. So Mess Magnets really came out of this need of there's a lot of strategy, there's a lot of fun on RHAP, but where is like the mess? And I realized like the podcast that I'm on where we end up talking a little bit about drama and a little bit about the side conversations, or like Twitter, they for me feel the most like fun and genuine. So how do we make that into a podcast? And I said, well, I love pop culture. I'm on Twitter and all of these sites entirely way too much. So let's bring that to the people and let's like tell it as a story, right? And be like, here's why you need to know about this. And even if you don't care to know, you will know. So that's how the Mess Magnets showed up, where we were like, Kirsten and I were talking about stories that we care about, that we think are messy enough that will make you laugh, that'll be light, and it's all about the vibes. So that's what we're bringing, is good vibes and good mess. And Rob, I have to say, the listeners do not disappoint, because we have an anonymous submission.
Yes, anonymous.
And the T folks submit.
Yeah. See, that's wild. I never envisioned like that's a direction that you would go. And that's really incredible, especially also that eventually, there could be some reality TV blind items, because nobody is messier than the reality TV casts out in the real world.
Exactly. So that's why those blind items are my favorite. And it's honestly a fun way to know who's listening and what like folks are thinking about when they're sending. Like, it's so much fun. Like, we got a lot of work drama where I was like, are y'all okay at work? Like, should I be calling HR? So it's so that's why it's just been a really fun vibe to just talk through it all. And the next episode coming out, episode 3, is all about like fun, silly conspiracy theories where can Leah Michelle read? That's the question. So
Oh my God. I never even thought about that.
yeah, exactly. It's like a conspiracy theory, I think from 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
So, but like a bunch of weird stuff, which I won't spoil, came out in her new documentary about Spring Awakening, her show. So her Broadway show. So we were like, no, let's bring all the conspiracies together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I think I live for conspiracy theories. Like that's my favorite thing.
Mm-hmm. The fun ones.
Yeah, the fun ones. Like
Right.
please don't come to me with hot mess. Like
Yeah, bring
just
the good
fun
name
mess.
of conspiracy theories back because they've taken on like a negative association.
Yeah, make conspiracies cool again, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Like it used to be like fun, like, oh, okay. Like now, you hear it like your sphincter clenches. So you have to, it's not as fun. But
Exactly.
yeah. So, all right. Check out the Mess Magnets. Of course, there's a podcast feed, robhasawebsite.com/mess feed. And we're trying some new stuff to promote the podcast. If you want to hear it first, subscribe to the Mess Magnets feed because that's where you're going to hear it before it hits the reality TV RHAP ups feed. And we're going to try a new idea of Sasha that you're hearing this first. We're gonna put no commercials when you listen on the Mess Magnets feed. So subscribe to the Mess
Oh,
Magnets feed and hear the show ad free. How about that?
you're welcome,
You're
everyone.
welcome. You're welcome. Okay. All right. So that's for the launch of the show.
Oh,
We'll
thank you, Rob. That's so
give it.
exciting.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to get people to subscribe to the podcast.
Mhm.
robhasawebsite.com/messfeed with Sasha and Kirsten. Is there? Do you have a particularly favorite messy Survivor 42 contestant?
Oh my god. I think Rox is pretty messy because he is that old school messy that you're just like, right, I forgot these people existed. Where at old like if you watch older Survivor, you're just like, yeah, everyone was like that. So it's fine. But here you're like, wow. And I did Jessica Lee say this, right? That she thinks Rox is a time traveler. And things have not been more real.
These have
because
not.
okay,
Yeah.
because that's why I think he's like particularly messy because he just says stuff that you're just like, no, you can't say your wife nags you. What are
Right.
you doing?
Well, he is a stay-at-home dad, Roxroy,
Yeah.
and you wonder did Roxroy's wife watch the show and says, "See, this is why I can't let you out of the house.
See, that's
You
what
don't know
I'm
how to
saying.
act." Yeah.
And now we talk through it all, and that's Mess Magnet. But but no, that's what I'm saying. I think it's more that maybe he's a stay-at-home dad and he's like, I've been around these kids too long. I gotta get out. I gotta, And I think and I truly believe this of myself too, right? You know, when you stop being cool after a certain
Yes.
age.
Yes.
It
I do
happened
know.
to
I do know. I do know. I can relatable.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So it
Go
happened
on.
to me, I think, at like 27, where I was like,
Mhm.
I don't care about new fashion. I don't care about new music. Like, no more. Like, I'm frozen
Yeah. Yeah.
in my like 26, 27 time music, all of that. So I think that's what happened to Rockstar. And I think he just froze. And then we unfroze him for Survivor.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm into it. I think he's fun to kind of be irked by.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't bother me like that. I'm just like, oh, Rockstar,
I
come
really
on.
loved him on the show. I asked him in the exit interview that
Mhm.
Roxroy, that how did your wife react
Yeah.
to? And he did he did seem to that seemed like that there were conversations were had.
Yeah, he was like Diva Samuels at the club. He was like, cut it,
No,
cut
no,
it,
no,
cut it,
no,
stop
no.
it, stop
Okay,
it.
yeah, we talked about it. There was a discussion.
But that's why so words were had, it was happening.
Right,
So
because when you're on the shows, Sasha, like you get together with like friends and family, everybody, come over, everybody's watching, like watch my husband on the show, and then he says that you're nagging him. It's like,
can you imagine the
yeah,
whole squad like sitting at Rockstar's house, and then they're like, "Yes, you're gonna do the time turn. Like this is amazing. Smash it, smash it. No, no, no! Before I smash, I'm gonna smash the matriarchy."
yeah. It's like, where's that hourglass? I gotta go back. I need a do over.
Yeah, so that's what I really thought he was like a fun character that you're just like, I don't think he means harm, but he harming everybody. And the like men's alliance, boo, what you doing? And I think Romeo, right? Like on my second watch of this episode, I was writing all of his quotes down because I just thought they were so funny.
Yeah, he's
Uh
very good at confessionals.
Exactly. So I was like, Romeo, I think I just want to be his bestie, but not more bestie than Nasir, obviously. But
Yeah. By the way, if you didn't listen to Nasir on the podcast this week, I think it's kind of evergreen.
yeah,
I think you can go back and listen to if you missed that one. It was just over an hour with Nasir, who was very, very fun. Glad I got the chance to catch up with him. Well, was there anything in particular that Romeo said that you really liked?
I just love when he says, whoever aligns with Romeo, I mean, not with Romeo, with High is dumb. Like,
Yeah.
because I think that's how I would talk about everyone, where I'm just like, I know I have to be strategic and I have to give you the reasons why High is a threat, or, but I'd be like, you're dumb. Just don't do this. You're dumb. Just stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just stop. And I like that he's petty enough. You know what I mean? Where he doesn't like, he's not hurting anyone, but I feel like he's like, hello, hi, you can be mad at me because you're coming for me. So I appreciate it.
So I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know even know why the people that are aligned with High are dumb. Like it doesn't make.
No,
Yeah,
well,
but
that's why it's messy.
yeah. He also said this about Mike, that he talked about how he doesn't have anything in common with Mike.
I have nothing in common with Mike. He's like 100 years old.
Mike's had so many old jokes about him that Romeo wasn't even at the tribal council where they said that Mike was 117 years old.
Yeah. And I just, I feel so bad because I think, first of all, Mike is in better shape than
Right.
most of this cast combined. Okay. Like, if that's what old age does to me, let's get there. Because when will I be in good shape, Rob? I'm waiting.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that it's like a Benjamin Button thing. Maybe like like Mike. Maybe he wasn't in that good of shape. Although we saw pictures of him when he was younger. He's in pretty good shape.
Yeah. So, and he's a firefighter. Like, I think they don't have a choice, but still, it's
Mhm.
just, I love it. And I think Mike, it doesn't mean anyone harm. Like, he's so against the
Unless you vote for
archetype.
him.
Yeah. Then he gonna hit the hypocrisy for everyone on this cast. I love it. Like, they'll I can write your name down, but you writing my name, who do you think you are, sir? What do you mean? Now number one, the arch nemesis. Let's go. Every time it's on site.
I had one other Romeo quote that I had pulled. This was him talking about High.
High is the sneakiest weasel.
Was he like, I can't say snake. I gotta come up with
Yes,
another
he's
word.
he's the sneakiest weasel in the cast.
Yeah. But it's also
I don't
like,
even know if that's true.
listen, Rob, everyone listen to the Asian Voices Representation podcast because I
Yeah.
don't want to get into it, but calling Asian sneaky.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Here we go again. But it's okay. I understand what Romeo meant. I think it's a 1-to-1 thing, so I let it go.
Yeah.
But y'all did it with Erica too, and you do it every year. Stop it. Use another adjective. Okay.
Yeah, I got more caught up on weasel.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't hear weasel a lot.
Really? I've called people weasel.
Yes.
Now I can't wait to solely call people weasel.
Yeah, I can't think of a time that I called a person a weasel.
Yeah, your go-to is moron. That's even better.
Or stupid idiot.
Yes.
Is my moron and stupid idiot. All right, let's take a question for okay. We're talking about Roxroy and his ideas. Let's talk to Amy Chan, who recently Chappelle and I talked to her on Nothing But Netflix about Formula One: Drive to Survive. She has a question about the Men's Alliance.
Hi, Rob and Sasha. This is Amy Chan calling in from Australia. I'm sure that there will be a lot of discussion about the race relations that were highlighted on the show this week. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about the gender relations that was something that was happening earlier in the episode and then sort of got forgotten about in the tribal council. I'm really curious as to what you think is the explanation for why we're seeing this trend of all the men banding together. There seems to be an undercurrent of implication that they're sort of victims, that when they get into the merge, that the men are just picked off one by one, so they need to band together to protect themselves. This is particularly curious to me as it's come off the back of the Australian season of Blood versus Water, where we very much saw this exact same narrative of the men talking about, we need all the strong blokes to be together and let's pick off all the weak women. I find it particularly interesting that it's happening in the US, because in the US we haven't had a female winner in years until Erica. So why this mentality of them being the victims, of them being targeted, and why do you think that the men have chosen to make this all about gender? Thanks.
Okay. Yes, Sasha, this was a little weird that this the thought came up because you heard a couple different players talk about it. Mike talked about it a couple of times, and Roxroy talked about it, and he talked about it like, yeah, this is like what always happens. Like the men get picked off because the women all are working together, but like that really has not happened very recently, like at all. In fact,
women haven't won since season 34. Before, I mean, because they don't know about Erica, right?
Right. They don't know about Erica. And even in that season, it wasn't really like the women worked together. I believe that the final four was Brad, Troyzan, Ty, and Sarah. So where's this coming from?
Listen, why are men? Why are men? Okay, it's time. Let's do an all-female Survivor season. I'm over it because Amy, Queen, you're correct. Like, where does this victim mentality come from? Because first of all, okay, there's more men than women.
Yes.
Right? Our friend Bestie Roxroy already said it. So the math ain't mathin' for me. Because have you seen Survivor? Have you seen anything in this world? Like, men are okay. I want to make that clear. Men are okay. In case you didn't know, you're coming up high. Okay, you're good. But but since we have to get into it, I think it's the perception, because when there are strong women around, I think it's hurting this particular group, right? Where maybe they're not used to it. I don't want to comment on their life. Like, I just mean like in the game, maybe they're not used to it because they're like, no, I am man. I run game. And actually Roxroy, right, like is used to running. He's used to telling them what to do, food, right? All of that stuff. And Tori said that, right? That's what they did on at camp a lot, was just talk about like gathering and doing all of that stuff. So to me, I think he's like, they don't listen to me. That means I'm in trouble. That means women are gonna gain on us, all four of them. So that equals we're in trouble. So I think it's the perceived notion that you're at a disadvantage when there's even close to equality about to happen, right? Like, men are still up, but I think when equality or equity, right, it gets closer, as in Joya has an idol, Maryanne has an idol, right? So when it's perceived to be closer than it actually is, I think the group that is in power, that has privilege, I think gets a little stressed. And that's maybe what's happening.
I'm just trying to understand, like, what did they watch where this like idea is coming from? Where that certainly wasn't the case in Winners at War, which was the most recent season that was on. Before that, it certainly wasn't the case in Survivor 39. I wonder, like, are they watching like old seasons where that the survivors are like, oh, watch Micronesia, watch fans versus favorites. That's a good one. And that's sort of like, oh, the women, well, you got to watch out for that. They're going to get together. And so it was like a long layoff. Like, I wonder if they're just like watching like random old seasons that are sort of like putting this idea in their head.
Yeah, I think so. Again, Roxroy time traveler theory, because that's the only thing that makes sense, right? Because I'm currently watching old seasons and I was like, wow, women are winning a lot. What happened? So I remember thinking that rewatching these old seasons. So I'm just assuming even if one woman won, that's one too many for maybe, the thought process. So even if they saw Sarah win, right? They're like, well, Sarah won against all odds. It was all men, but look, the woman is gonna win if there's even one of them with us. So I think it's that mentality,
Hmm.
unfortunately.
Okay. Let me ask you a question just about the makeup of this cast. I have a question for you, which is from Pranay.
Oh, King.
Hey Rob, hey Sasha, this is Pranay from India.
Pranay.
My question is, Sasha, as a fellow Indian, how did you feel seeing two Indians getting cast in a single season of Survivor in Swati and Omar, and the missed opportunity of having them play together in a season? Love to both of you. Thank you.
Oh, yes. I know. When Swati was voted out, I was like, "How dare you? How dare you?" I
Mhm.
don't even it's not even that I was like, "Oh, Swati's gonna win," but no. The fact that 2 Indians were about to work together, are you kidding me? When has that happened?
Mhm.
Never. Oh,
Yeah.
God. Rob, we can't get what we want. I get crumbs, and then they just get taken away, Rob.
Well, I guess why don't we focus on the positive here in Omar, who I think like if we were gonna like do a draft right
Knock on
now
wood.
of
Yes.
like who's winning the game, I think I would guess that Omar is probably coming off the board in the first 2 picks.
Yeah, I 100%. I agree with that. And I mean, phenomenal game. Everyone said everything about it already, but it's true. Like this man ain't got a vote and he's still or didn't have a vote, but he's running everything. And I love to watch him work because you're like, "Oh, when I go on Survivor, I'm going to be so slick." And then you go on and you're going to, flop. But look at Omar. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I am so grateful. I can't believe he's the first South Asian man, sorry, first Indian man to make the merge. And let's take it all the way. Let's go.
How are you feeling? Do you think that he is set up well to do it?
Yes.
Because I think okay, because he's played a great game, but this I think is a really interesting spot for him. And I talked about this a little bit with Jamal,
Yeah.
where okay, he has a lot of pieces, but what is the next move? Because I think he's a little bit still tied to the Taku 4, but he's got some other things going on, and I think it's going to be really fascinating this week to watch and see where he goes.
Yeah, because this is what I've noticed, right? He almost waits until there is some plan, and then he'll assess the plan, right? Like, is Romeo going out actually good for me? It's not. So let's pivot. So I like that because it's almost playing from behind, right? Or you're always playing with some chips down, even though actually you have all the chips. So that is what I think I love about Omar's gameplay because today, right, or this season, Jonathan, let's say for this episode, has been very aggressive, right? Like HOH itis almost, if any Big Brother fans, where he's like, I have immunity. I'm running it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you what to do. It's like, yeah, we'll let you think you're running it. But Omer, is actually right. Like that's why I really like him because he's very kind and he does it he picks the bottom people. And that's what we've been asking, right? For years to be like, why can't all the bottom people come together and vote out the majority? Like, let's do it. Let's do it. Survivor South Africa, number 8 did, no spoilers, but did a little bit of that where all the people at the bottom were able to get together. And that's what to me makes these shows fun because you
Right.
want that. And I think that's what Omar is doing. He's almost has like army of the outsiders who are not really going to talk to each other, talk to anyone else because no one really talks to them. Great, but Omar does.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point about the people that are on the bottom. I think that when these shows are broken, it's when that the people on the bottom are not able to
Yes.
be able to flip things over, and you don't need to necessarily always do it with like, oh, we need a secret power that's going to be able to change things around. I mean, I think that like going back to like classic Survivor and classic Big Brother, like the best moments that people really resonated with was like, oh, these were the 4 or 5 people that were at the bottom and they realized it. And then they went and they flipped the whole power structure. And it made you feel like that, whatever adversity you were up against, it's like, the people, the underdogs could band together and flip the whole thing over. And I think that especially in Big Brother, that had been one of the problems over the last couple of years, where that you ended up with sort of like this big alliance, and specifically in Big Brother, a very like homogenized, like big alliance of sort of like the quote unquote like popular people who often like all look the same, working together in a big alliance. Like this is like when these things like that, these are the moments that everybody loves, when like the whole thing flips.
Yeah, and I think when it's done kindly as well. I don't know that, like he's not bulldozing, right? Like I think he does it with so much
Definitely not.
finesse.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's what I love to watch, and that's why I think if he gets to final 3, right, he has such a good story, because even, though Roxroy was voted out, I think that's I can almost pinpoint now, right? Like when Roxroy was voted out, Hai goes to Mike and is like, "Hey, what about Roxroy?" Almost then never came up, and it was actually his idea, and I like highlighted that in my notes because I was like, "Oh, this is exactly what you should do," because and he has a little bit of privilege as a man, right, where he can claim it later and it works, as opposed to maybe if sometimes I think implicitly women don't get to claim that later, like you need to know that they did it. So
Mhm.
I think that's why Roxroy will respect it, to be like, "Hey, Roxroy, was actually my idea to do it all," and no hard feelings, because those feelings have been placed at Hai's feet, and then by the time you find out it wasn't Hai, I think you are almost, like, chilled out.
Yeah. Um, I want to go back to you talked about Jonathan having the HOH-itis. And I think that was a really great way to describe it, because like not only like did he win immunity, where it was like, okay, well, I feel like very much like emboldened that I have the power, but also that now, hey, I'm the man here, and so I need
Ye
to make the decision for the group.
and this is where you're like, "Bless your heart." Just what are you doing? Because flopping all over the place, just word vomiting. A is not making sense with B is not making sense with C, but no, he's still pushing through it, man. And to have that confidence, Rob, what did I miss that God didn't give me this type of confidence? Like, why do I have to have sense in this world? That's what
Mhm.
I'm mad about.
That's a good question. The thing that really like jumps out to me is that that just the order of operations, that he did things where he went to Lindsay last, which is so confusing to me, because I had been under the impression that I thought Lindsay was especially like of the Taku people, like his tightest ally.
I think Maryanne and him just talked first. Like again, just from what I'm seeing, right, off of what the edit showed us, it felt like there wasn't really a rhyme or rhythm to it, because it's almost like Maryanne, even though you have the same advantage, like we don't know that Drea got an arsenal, but currently it's 1-to-1
Mhm.
in his mind. But you're good, but we're gonna pick her off. Like, what are you, the genius? And then to put you as the backup. Oh
Well,
my
the
word.
way that he said it to her, he's like, "All right, we're getting rid of an idol tonight, but not yours." Like, well, I should hope not. Yeah, I
Right.
should hope you're not flushing my idol.
And if you see Marianne's reaction, she's like, yeah, I agree with you. So shut up. Just
Mhm.
like us, like, but again, as a like an over talker, as a Hermione, like I really do take up a lot of space like that. I get it. Sometimes you say something and then you have to walk it back. So I would have to, like Nasir said this, right? Like he had to talk about the phrase "go on AstroTurf" a lot before he said it. So I have to think a lot before I speak, or at least like make some notes so I don't just like speak crazy. But Jonathan, take a minute, my guy. Just 1 second and be like, who am I talking to? Right? This person has an idol. So let me make sure I maybe have another reason for voting Drea out. And then she
Mhm.
gives him an opening, right? To be like, yes, I also wanted her out. She almost like starts hugging him. And he's like, no, wait, let me finish. Shut up.
Mhm. Yeah. He also like and I think that this is like shows up in the tribal council also. But I pulled a clip of here he is, he tells Lindsay the idea, and then Lindsay is saying no, hold on, you gotta think this through.
You're not listening to me.
Okay.
Tori is not trustworthy.
Jonathan's impossible to talk with, and he's not understanding that there's a lot more relationships that he's not aware of. It's not that I trust her. I'm saying we need a backup plan.
You're not listening. You're getting really worked up, and it's hard to communicate with you when you go a million miles a minute.
Yeah. Twice he told Lindsay, you're not listening to me.
How? You know what I mean? And this goes back.
And I don't think Lindsay was getting too worked up also.
No, right? And he's like, you were going so fat, talking so fat. Are you that slow?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going on? Like, I'm from Oklahoma, right? Like, maybe it's not the true South, but I'm from the South. People talk slow, but I can't understand Lindsay perfectly clear. Okay, you gotta stop this madness. And this just, oh my God. I don't know how you can be calm when people say stuff like this to you. And this is why I'd be first voted out. Not because, I'm a woman of color, so most likely I am first voted out. But because I think I would just be like, shut up. Like, you will let me talk. Like, you will not speak to me this way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but Lindsay is so kind. I don't know how people are this kind.
She had a very good episode. And then, she also I think then, sort of maybe real, and then also sort of but built a relationship with the other women of Jonathan, he's kind of an idiot sometimes, he's, but it's just interesting. He goes to that a lot. No, you're not listening to me.
And why is he being so aggressive? This is your ally, right? It's not someone that's a swing vote, right? That's maybe going that you need to push a little to be you need to listen to me. This is someone that's on your side, that has been on your side, allegedly, right, since the beginning, since you stepped foot on camp, because you're all together now. What? Are you okay? Do you need more food, or did the food get to your brain?
Well,
what
they did
happened?
get to eat. But, this is an interesting phase of the game for Jonathan where, all the decisions to this point, were pretty easy. The one time that was a hard call was that vote at the merge where he was on the ropes a little bit.
Yep.
And he went to Omar and he's like, Omar, please save me. So now that he's not being targeted, I think that we're seeing a little bit more of he is not as okay, hey, tell me what the plan is. Now it's I want to sort of inflict my plan on the tribe.
Yeah, I want to go hard in the paint.
Hard in the paint, right? Because this is the time.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing that you should make moves. No one likes a passive player necessarily, but this ain't it. And especially not yelling at your own tribe member, as in your own alliance. OG tribe, your own alliance. What are you doing? And this goes back actually to Amy's question, right? Why are they thinking that they are under attack all the time? It makes no sense. You, sir, cannot get voted out. You have 2 more allies in a group of 5. So the 3 of you vote together. Just take a second, do some math, and be humble and understand. Oh, what do you want, Lindsay? Here's what I'm thinking. Just why can't everyone should take negotiations class before they go on Survivor? Because this is horrible.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about the actual idea that Jonathan comes up with of okay, this is the time to target Drea. And certainly on paper, that makes sense of okay, Drea has an idol. We want to go after the person in the idol. There's only 5 people here. Okay, we're gonna blindside her tonight. I'm just wondering though, if you are Jonathan and you are in Jonathan's position, does it actually make the most sense to target Drea and her advantages? Because if you're playing as Jonathan and you're sort of a big guy and everybody's going to be looking at you, shouldn't he be thinking a little bit about okay, well, who are the shields for me? Because I think that Drea and maybe with her advantages might be, and she's working with him. She's not somebody who's who's targeting him at this point. I'm wondering if it is actually a better idea for Jonathan to have a Drea in the game and to be going after the Tories and the Romeos and the people who are at the bottom who are saying, hey, let's vote out these big physical guys.
Yeah, one, vote out everyone on the outs, or at least vote out weak players. Like, what are you doing? Because to me, if he were to flip on Lindsay and Maryanne, right? I don't think he should, but I'm saying because they're quote unquote weaker than him, even though Lindsay actually almost beat him in the challenge. But I'm thinking of his mentality, right? They are much better because they are not, they're not part of this big, strong, like I have everything at my disposal. Maybe Maryanne with her one idol, but even then, I think I can make a case for why she's not as quote unquote strong like Drea and Jonathan's of the world, right?
Mhm.
And her personality wise too, versus, and I'm like, Tori won 2 immunity. Like, did we just forget that?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on there? Because why aren't we at least saying, hey, I think we should do Tori, and then maybe one person like Tori writes down Drea just in case Tori has anything. Because what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
That part I didn't understand because Tori doesn't have a relationship with Jonathan, right? As far as I know.
No, he's like, she's untrustworthy. I want nothing to do with her.
Right. And then, at the end, right, the reason why he voted, we don't talk to each other. So why is that not the first person you think of? And that's where I want to say, I feel like, and Jamal already said this, right? That implicit bias comes into play of one person, they're pretty similar in threats. We know that Drea has way more stuff and is a bigger threat, but he doesn't know that. So between the two, you pick the person that is constantly winning and you literally can't vote for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I do think he knows that she has an idol based on the phrases.
Yeah.
Yes, but he does not know about the other things, and it's possible he could know that she has the extra vote as well.
Mm.
But yeah, that should we get into talking about the tribal council, because I think that really I think that a real big thing that turned people off during the episode was Jonathan's reaction to what Drea was saying about things, where he also pushed back very hard against what Drea was experiencing and trying to express in the group, and then ultimately ends up saying that he feels like she's being aggressive, talking about that, which Jamal did a great job of talking about why we're not going to do that. And so for Jonathan, I do think that this is he wants to, you're not listening to me, he doesn't do a great job of being the listener.
Listen, active listening is not easy, and it's a very important skill that folks have to learn. But I think, a lot, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of folks listen to answer and not listen to understand. And that's where it comes down to. And it's so, watching back, it's so obvious. But I think, at least for me, I know when I'm not actively listening because I know I do it, right? If I'm annoyed at someone and I just want to cut you off with my point, then I'm not going to actively listen. And that's, oh my God, take a moment and just listen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
I don't know. It's hard to watch.
Sure. Is there anything from in terms of the reaction from Drea seeing Roxroy and Chanel on being voted out that you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've said this a lot. I think Maryanne actually said it the most articulate and beautifully, but what I just want to say is, what are folks not understanding, right? As in, okay, it's one of the two, right? Where folks are like, I want Survivor because I want to, unplug from the world. And this is my, getaway. Okay, fine. If it is your getaway, I want it to be my getaway too, not just yours. So how is it that you, white person usually, I'm making assumptions, but usually it is. My mentions, I see them, are like, why can't it be fun for me too? And why can't it be fun for Drea and Maryanne too if it's fun for Jonathan and Lindsay and Tori, right? And Rob's fact checker at Twitter made me a spreadsheet, and there have been 291 white men, and this is obviously Boston Rob is counted multiple times, you're counted twice at least multiple times, and
That was very generous. They didn't have to do
and
it.
but it's like, so returning players are counted as individuals. I want to make that clear. So technically the number is less, but 291 white men to 94 men of color. Okay, and then 122 women of color and 260 white women. Okay, like, and this is like counting again. Returnees are not like taken out. Like, this is all, they're counted multiple times. But still, do folks understand? Like, look at these statistics. We have not seen ourselves represented in so long. Okay, and it's exhausting. And for Black people, this has been even more exhausting. They did not see Survivor 41, and the fact that it's literally the same thing, right? Back to back to back happening. It's wild. And so I think that their reaction is normal. I don't think they were calling out anyone on their tribe. I think they were just saying that Survivor should be fun for us. Maryanne probably was like, bro, I want to vote Drea out, but y'all are wild in, and look at what's going on jury. I can't do it. And I think there's a certain privilege, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the word privilege. Like, I, as an Asian woman, I have privilege too. That's how white supremacy works. But anyway, so there's certain privileges, right? When you get to be one of one and you're playing for yourself versus when you're part of a minority group and you can't just play for yourself.
Yeah.
And I want folks to understand that.
And I think that maybe this is like a good example to sort of like show like that. Hold on, this like has times where like maybe other players have sort of like thought this way. If you go back to in Heroes versus Villains, okay, so when the Heroes tribe, they're sitting over there and they're watching and they don't know what's going on, and they're thinking and they see that Boston Rob got voted out and then Tyson got voted out. And then I think the coach gets voted out, and they like incorrectly deduce like, oh wait, okay, oh 3 men just went out in a row. Okay, all right. So like it must be a women's alliance over there. So they sort of like jump to a conclusion of, hey, we got to do something about this because we're gonna send Russell an idol. Because that we're going to use the idol to protect us men in the game, and we're going to use our power in the game by sending Russell an idol. Now this was but nobody was nobody obviously was up in arms about that happening in the game, and I think that for and obviously I don't know what that's like to be part of a marginalized group, but I think for the players this season. The Black players, like they didn't come out and say like, hey, we're working together. That's it. They came out and they played their games. And for Drea and ultimately for Maryanne, they sort of like said, wait, hold on a second. Is this happening? Where in the same way, like if you worked at a company and that all of a sudden like somebody from a group as you got fired. It's like, okay, no big deal. And then all of a sudden, like now another person from the same group as you also got fired. It's like, hold on, like what's going on here? Like, I think it's fair to be, asking that question and sort of like doing what you can in that moment to protect yourself, which is what we saw the players do in that tribal council.
Yeah, and I've been getting a lot of the pictures, right, of who voted for Chanel.
Oh yeah, that's a banger of a meme. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want people to understand that is exactly what we're actually trying to say, that Drea and Maryanne do want to play their own game and they don't want to go, like along maybe necessarily like, hey, this is who I identify with as another Black woman, so I'm not going to vote out. They were like, yeah, we want to play our own game, but that's how the cards fell, and that's who felt more expendable, right? Roxroy. Drea seems to be more expendable over Tori, allegedly, for these two tribes. And they're like, no, I can't let that happen.
Yeah.
So reality is change. And right. And Jeff, right, with his was actually pushing Drea to say that, right? When he was like, don't you think? And then I think he asked Lindsay, it's a reminder that the game is constantly turning over. Yeah, people, the game is constantly turning over. Drea literally almost fell over when she saw Roxroy voted out.
Yeah.
And Jonathan looks like he saw a ghost. So I don't know why that couldn't, like, why folks are so up in arms, because imagine how tired we are of constantly seeing us getting voted out. Okay, please.
Yeah. I mean, you saw Maryanne. Maryanne went into that tribal council prepared to vote out Drea. This was like Maryanne was not like, I cannot vote another Black person out of the game. It was only when Drea had seen that Roxroy was there, which was like a double blindside in that, okay, well, now there's two Black people on the jury, but also that Roxroy was an ally of hers. And she's like, wait, hold on. What's going on here? Why is this happening? I think that she's probably, her mind is racing with all sorts of thoughts of like, okay, she has no idea of like what's really going on over there, or that anybody, I'm sure nobody's mentioned to her that, hey, by the way, Roxroy is a potential target right now. So she's like, goes to like instinctually, how do I protect myself in this moment? And she, fortunately for her, has all of the idols. And so that's sort of like, where this starts. And, it's been, widely discussed, like, all the other reasons why she's feeling the way she's feeling in that moment.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I love that, Rob, because honestly, even if she wanted to not vote out a Black person, I think that's okay. Like, if I were on any of these shows, I don't know that I would feel comfortable, right? Like voting a woman out first, or voting a person of color out first. And especially if the other person is Indian, forget about it. There's no way. I'm just not doing it. And it's because I want people that look like me, and people that like me are watching to finally see some of us, right? Like on Big Brother Canada, Helena, right? We're talking in Punjabi and sharing a few like words here and there. It's nice. I loved watching Nasir, because I was like, wow, someone that, has the same skin color as me, and like it's important because this is fun for me. In the real world, I have Indian friends everywhere. Cool, but when I watch a show and it's my also unplugging time, I want to see like, oh yeah, that is how I would play the game, because I'm an immigrant like Nasir, and I'm an immigrant like the Twinnies, right? So I like that someone with an accent similar to mine, or when Karishma talks about her family and her wedding and relationship dynamic. It's important because like I unplug and it's fun for me. But if you want to say that, people want to send me stats, right? Of like, well, there's this many white people in the country and there's many Black people. So actually Survivor is, representative, then pick a side. Okay, then pick a side, because it can't be that you unplug from the real world and watch Survivor, and then you're sending me real world stats. Which is it? And that's where I think it gets really frustrated. And I personally get pretty worked up, because it feels like the goal line, right, is constantly moved of like what we can say. And I'm not a Black person, I'm an Asian, and I have the privilege of model minority, right, where white supremacy has said that I'm the okay minority, right, because Asians are like allegedly smarter, whatever, because we go to college more, blah, blah, stupid, it's stupid. So so we are more likely to be seen as docile and submissive and sneaky, instead of what Jonathan called Drea, aggressive. So that's why it's important to note that privilege. And then why not have, right, even numbers of every ethnicity, then, if you really don't want it to be like the real world. So that's why I think it's very frustrating, because it's like, well, which one is it? Either we're unplugging or either it's the real world. And I say that about production and casting, right? Like, I mean behind the camera too, not just in the front.
Mm-hmm. And I really believe that, everybody who was, the production is trying to do the right thing. I think that, Jeff is like looking to the players in that moment about, okay, like, let me take my cues from, what's happening here to try to get this right. I thought that Lindsay and Tori were both like really great at that tribal council, talking about and they were the two people who were ultimately like the most impacted by how it played out, because one of them is going home in that moment.
Yeah, and I just appreciated Lindsay being such a great ally, because she almost like active listening, right? She literally repeated the words back that Drea said, where she said, "I don't think you're being aggressive. I think you're right, in how you feel." So that is a type of stuff sometimes you need, right? When you feel so alone. Like Drea was crying, like literally in her knees, and with her hood up, just like crying. And I don't know how folks don't feel that, hey, I do need to take a step back. Like, this is too real. And we do need to let Maryanne and Drea lead us through this right now, even though they shouldn't have to. And that's a lot of emotional labor. But, if they're going to, then let them.
Yeah. And Tori also, who, a lot of people have given, Tori a lot of flack over the course of the season. I think Tori is the one who says, like, this is like, bigger than the game in the episode. And I said it yesterday, but I thought that Tori like handled like the whole situation, I was really wondering coming into the exit interview, it's like, boy, is Tori going to be salty about this whole situation? But I thought that Tori handled everything with a lot of class.
Yes.
And so, and this is the same woman who, when Roxroy broke the hourglass, said like, Roxroy, we were doing this. And then she said that was in the exit interview. She did say that she was playing that up, but she said, but we were giving you a gift, Roxroy. How could you do this?
Yeah, we love a self-aware villain, right? And that's what exactly. I saw I read a few of her exit interview, and I saw it with you. I enjoyed it. I think she gave great insight. It's fine. And I think I appreciated it, because I think that she could have really been like playing hard. And I don't know that I would have necessarily blamed her, right? Because you're going out. So you kind of need to push until the last minute. But I think she took a step back and was, as a maybe therapist, trying to like talk to people and be like, okay, well, why are you wanting to vote me out? Let's talk through this a little. So I think she did as much as she could. It's just that the shot in the dark is such a weird.
It's pretty weird. Yeah.
Like I don't know how else to explain. Like, I know that you and Steven were like, yeah, the next one, it's gonna hit. But like, it feels like gambling where you're losing all your money and you're like, no, but I'm due for a win, man. Like, scratch his neck.
Pulling. Yeah. There's gonna be a winner in these scratch offs. Give me the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna keep doing it. All right, let's take a question about the shot in the dark. Okay, this is from Lexi. Has a question about shot in the dark.
Hey Rob, this is Lexi from Wisconsin, and I wanted to get your opinion on if you thought it was fair that Tori was able to play her shot in the dark this past week. Usually the shot in the dark is played before the votes are read, so it's kind of a risk and you don't know if you will actually be getting the votes. However, this week, Jonathan, Drea, and Maryanne had already technically cast their votes against Tori, and then she could play her shot in the dark, which, if she was safe, she would automatically send Lindsay home and there wasn't a risk. Would love to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay. Did it bother you that Tori got the chance to play the shot in the dark knowing that she was going to be the person who is going home?
No, I don't think so. I think now we're getting a little, like, as you say, ticky-tack. Because
a little bit.
Because I think it's like sometimes when... No, that's evil. I can't say that. But when someone, is just like on the ground, why kick them while they're down? Let them have something. At this point, let's put our tinfoil hats on, kids.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I'm wondering if production was like, actually, it'd be really horrible if Lindsay goes home. Like, I don't think we can make that happen, because if we would have let everyone vote, right, like whatever. So let's just put the not safe ones in there. We're gonna take the safe.
I think that I don't think that they went
No,
to
I'm just-
those
I'm
links,
kidding,
but
I'm
I think that they probably were like, all right, everybody was like in the production booth was like, all right, cross your fingers on this, because it's like it would be a very weird note to end that tribal council on, of that Tori hits the shot in the dark, she's cheering, God has done it. And then
I have
Sorry,
to
Lindsay.
ask
Yes.
because this is nothing against Christianity or God. Like,
Yeah.
we technically have the same God. I'm Jewish. But does God? I mean, God cares about all of them sitting there. So
Yeah.
like, so that
I know
that's
this
all
is.
I mean,
like when you'll watch an NFL game and both teams are praying. You get down like there's some circular logic there, and
Exactly.
Tori, God cares about everybody. It just wasn't God's plan for
Which
it
is
to work
correct.
out this way.
Yeah, which that part I think even I would say, I'd be like, it wasn't it for me. I
And
had
also-
other things.
Yeah. Just as somebody who's followed the history of Survivor, I think God has made some very curious decisions in his plan about how he wanted these different seasons to play out.
Listen, I have decided, right? Because we're
Kelly
dropping
Kim couldn't have played one idol.
Sari, hello.
Yes.
The biggest, where God at with that one.
Mhm.
But no, in drop the 4, keep the 1. I believe that God is maybe a woman, because if God was, I think the old Survivor, maybe not. I don't know, maybe at least gender non-conforming, if not a woman,
I
because
would think so. Yeah.
Rob, when this man's alliance came together, and then they said, we're gonna put you all together on the same tribe. That is God. That is
Yeah.
Survivor God being the pettiest of the petty, and I loved it. And I want more of that.
Right.
Chances.
At least we know that God has a sense of humor.
Yeah, and I needed it. We all needed it at that moment, because to me, that whole men's alliance, like, right, it started as fast as it finished, and it was amazing to watch. Like, when I saw them all standing together, I was like, no, wait, they got put on the same
Yeah.
tribe. All yes. Yes.
I hadn't really thought of it that way, where it's like, my first reaction was Roxroy made that men's alliance and then was with all the men. I was like, oh, how this is very fortuitous for Roxroy. It's a good thing he locked this down before we go. And then, as it plays out, it's like, oh no, this is actually bad for Roxroy because the way that it played out.
There's no woman folk to distract.
Yeah. So.
And we knew, right, that High had said, I can't be part of the misogyny club. And so did Omar. That's why I felt like it wasn't something amiss.
So you mentioned Sari. We have a question from Matthew about the same sort of situation that ended up taking Sari out in Survivor Game Changers. Here's Matthew.
Hey, Rob. This is Matthew from Temple University. And I just want to point out how close we were to having a tribal council where everyone could have been safe. We had Maryanne, Drea, and Jonathan all be safe. We saw a shot in the dark get played with the 4th person being safe. And all that means is, let's say Mike got swapped onto the correct tribe instead of Tori. All of a sudden, we have 5 people being safe at the tribal council. What do you think would have happened?
Okay. Sasha, this is a question that's come up from time to time. Every single person ends up being safe. Do you have a sense of what Survivor would do in that spot?
I'm telling you, I feel like production has to interfere, and the shot in the dark truly becomes in the dark, and like the safe is taking out. Like, there's no way production, I think, will allow this.
No, they would love it, Sasha. They would be like such. Now again, it would be like a little bit of weird, like, I don't know how you market this episode, like where you have again, it kind of like takes like we have like this great stand that Drea and Maryanne make, and then it's like, okay, now let's start the carnival games here.
Yeah, so you're telling me, that Jeff would come up with like another beautiful analogy, and then it's like, you know what? This time we are in the car, but everyone's wearing their seatbelts and all the airbags deployed. So that means we're all good. Go home. Goodbye.
You know what? I don't think that that's the worst outcome. Where, okay, everybody here is safe tonight. go back to camp. I think that would be, now again, I think that you not do that when you reach a certain point in the game, but I mean, it's day 18, and I don't know how that would necessarily screw up the schedule, but maybe you might have to do another tribal council on a time when you were going to have maybe a rest day, and maybe you have to come up with another challenge. But I don't think that's necessarily the worst outcome. And I think that seems more fair to me than is all right, everybody is safe. Okay. So now all these advantages have been spent, and now we're going to draw a rock. I feel like you won a challenge. It should at least buy you one more day. It's okay, we'll figure out a time to do another elimination.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think it's one of two, right? Either they manipulate the shot in the dark, or it's everyone goes home.
Everybody goes back to the camp.
Goes back to that's their home,
Yeah.
Because no one goes to Ponderosa. Because I'm wondering, right? They've seen Australian Survivor, so I'm wondering if they then do something where they can, put in another fun challenge or another fun twist or something. Because boy, they love these twists, and we get a Jeff pan to camera next episode with something that happens. Because I see what you're saying. I just feel like would they allow that, and then would that be beneficial for fans next season? Because then it's okay, we really got to chill out on the advantages a little.
Yeah, maybe. I think that they would love it as especially it's already an episode where Roxroy already went home. So It wasn't that people are going to say, what, this was not an elimination episode. This is, you did have a tribal council. So it's it would be a survivor first, which, anytime they can have a survivor first, they love that. So I think that that's what would happen in this spot. I do wonder, if you got into a situation, final 6, final 5, where that's happening. How exactly you would play that out, because when you get to the final 5, I think you're out of days. I think it's probably the 26-day game. Final tribal council's on day 26, final 4 fire makings on day 25. You're sitting there on day 24. What do you do in that spot?
Right. And that's when it can get, I think we're getting into unfair territory, and that's what we definitely don't want. So that's when I wonder, that's my question. Do they have contingencies already? That's what maybe it's worth asking production or someone on CBS, because I really want to know if they already have a contingency for that. As in, do they really do worst case, best case, all cases, and then well, that's the script we're going to give Jeff. That's the envelope that shows up.
I think that what they would do, and based on my, limited experience with the show a very long time ago, I think that they would basically have that they would, have this, all right, sit here, and they're going to go talk it out and figure it out. I don't think that this would be playing out in real time. And I wonder if that they have sort of baked these contingencies into play, where the shot in the dark, I think, ends at the final 7. I'm not sure if there would be enough advantages in the game at any particular time for them to have this worst case scenario that you would need basically 4 idols in the game at the final 5 for that to happen. And so Drea and Maryanne, theirs are gone. Mike has 1. That basically the amulets can turn into 1. I don't think it's possible right now based on what's in the game for this to happen.
That's another question then. Will more idols come now? As in the red-handed, are we going to be blue-handed and yellow-handed?
Oh, that's it. That's interesting. If we get another, paint hands.
Yeah, I love that. I think that was so fun to watch. So I hope again, I loved your idea of the stinky and the good smelling one. Genius. I hope they do that. They have to now.
Yes. And also the people had pushed us to get an idol that makes random sounds. Some people said maybe farts, just some random your idol is just going to when you're in a meeting and your phone is you're getting a text message. The noisy idol.
Oh my God, that's my worst fear in life. So I would just throw it away. I'd be like, it's gone. I'll figure out my social skills. Like,
Mhm.
screw this. I'm not getting embarrassed on national television.
Mhm. Okay. Let me give you another question for you. Okay. This is a question from Paolo wants to ask you about the Canadian players.
Ooh.
Hi, Rob. Hi, Sasha. This is Paolo calling from Toronto. Sasha, I am glad you're on the podcast this week. I listened to your podcast on Asian American
Oh,
representation on reality TV with
thank
Kevin, and I
you.
thought you both did a fantastic job. Highly recommended. My question to you both is, are we headed towards our second Canadian winner in a row? Omar is from Kitchener, Ontario, which is a stone's throw away from Toronto, Ontario. What is it about Canadians that make them so consistently good? Could it be that BB Can has prepared them for these insane twistos twists? Or is it
Twist
simply
those
just
twists.
that they have unwavering politeness despite adversity? Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks.
Okay. So at this final 8 right now, so we have Omar and
Yeah.
Maryanne, and Drea,
Drea,
that she
right?
is remind me which way is she is a Canadian living in the US, so she's
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
yes, so she's natively
Yes.
from Canada,
Mhm.
and then is she's born in Canada, and
Yes.
then I believe that's her backstory, and lives in
Yeah.
Texas, I believe.
Mhm.
So then, wow, well, I mean, 3 out of the final 8.
So here's the thing. I first was like, yeah, duh. Like, it's one that we're very smart. Asians are very smart. No, I'm just kidding. But it's more, I think, yeah, that they are nice as in, I don't think they're overtly nice. I think they just have a better understanding of where they
Mhm.
stand. And Erica obviously was definitely playing from the bottom. Omar, even though he's not at the bottom, is playing that way. And we haven't tapped this market.
Mhm.
So, it's like, think about if there was only Canadian survivors and now Americans were finally on. And, Parvati and you and Sandra, Queen, show up. And then you're like, Americans are amazing. So it's also sample size.
Small sample size, right?
So I
Right.
want to say that. But listen, I'm all for it. Okay, let's make it clear. Yeah, and
Mhm.
Drea is from Quebec and hometown is San Antonio now. So, or it's opposite, sorry. So that's what I meant, is that her hometown is from Texas and she currently lives in Canada.
Okay, I had it backwards. Okay, sorry
Sorry.
about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's also interesting, and we have to remember Tom Laidlaw also played in Survivor
True.
39. So it's not that every Canadian went, but like if Omar or Maryanne potentially could do this, I mean, what a year it would be for Canada coming in and going back to back.
I would love it. I have to just again, I'm rooting for Omar. Here we are. I know I am. But also I think Erica was just under edited, right? Because every time I hear from season 41, I hear them talk about how amazing she was out there. So it is also, I think, casting. Great job. Y'all are, getting just people that are fans and that are actually, like, I think know how to play the game, which I will say has been a joy for 42, where I feel like they feel so much more real, like real
Mhm.
people, and I'm into it.
Okay. Let's take a question a question from our friend Josh Green has a question for you. Here is Josh.
What's going on, Rob and Sasha? It's Josh Green. Very happy Sasha's on the feedback show. Looking forward to all of the laughs, all of the breakdown of
Get ready.
the second tribal council, and could not think of a better guest for the feedback show. My question, though, is related a little bit to Sasha's new wrap-up, Mess
Oh no.
Magnets. Who does Sasha think would have the most anonymous from our final 10? We know Tori's definitely messy. We know Roxroy's messy with his trip to exile. What do you guys think? Who do you think has some anonymous that the audience doesn't know about? Would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks.
Josh, he told me he was sending a question. This is hilarious.
Yes.
I
Now, is
think
this
I have
in
an
the game
answer.
or out of the game?
So whoever I think has the most mess in their head, like if anyone's seen Mean Girls, right? Like her hair is so big because it's full of secrets. Maybe
Mhm.
that moment, I feel like therapists, doctors, as in Omar though, works with animals. So I think his mess is more like I think you should like talk about it openly because it's so interesting, like exotic animals. I've met Joe Exotic, let's talk through it all. So I don't know that that'd be anonymous. You know who I think would be Romeo
Romeo. I think that's the right answer.
and pageant coach.
Yeah.
Did anyone
He's
watch
seen some
Toddlers
stuff.
and Tiaras?
Yeah.
Okay, are you kidding me? Can you imagine? First of all, the amount of he doesn't even need to tell me who it is. I just want to know what all they do to get ready. Right?
Yeah.
Like what are all these like wild things? Like how do they tape their face back? Do they do it?
They tape their faces back?
Yeah, that's like I know some beauty rituals where it's like a facelift, right? If you like squeeze your face back, and then you'll like tape it here,
What,
and then the hair will come so you can't see.
what do
But
you
I look
attach the
skinnier.
tape to? Like the back of your neck?
Yeah, basically.
Oh my God.
And if you watch this season of Selling Sunset, the tape was coming off. So one of the cast makes fun of. She's like, "Oh no, my tape's coming off. I need more Botox." So that's the kind of stuff I feel like Romeo got the tea. Like Romeo is gonna tell us. The pageant life has to be wild, so we have to know it. And I'm trying to. Everyone else was like so nice, so I can't imagine them like wanting to spill it. Tori obviously as a therapist is gonna have tea. Like that's one obvious. And Lydia Queen, I bet you she has some tea too.
She has a lot. She has
a big juicy tea for us.
Big fat juicy mess. For sure.
So shout out Lydia because I think those are the messiest, and that would willingly I think share.
Let me bring in a question for you about Hi. And let's bring in one of our great voicemail leavers. Victoria from Baltimore has a question. Okay, here is Victoria.
Hi, Sasha and Rob. This is Victoria from Baltimore. I have a question for you guys about Hi. Hi came off a little bit aggressive when he came back from the last tribal council in terms of seeing his name get written down. I'm curious if you think the other players will see through that or see it as maybe arrogant or off-putting. What do you think his chances are of getting down to final 7, 6, 5, etc. if he continues to act that way? Love to know your thoughts. Okay, bye. TGIF.
TGIF.
I love it.
Wow. Okay.
Is that the next sponsor? No, I'm just
maybe that's Victoria's catchphrase.
Oh, I love it. Hi, Victoria. Love it.
Yes. Okay. So, all right. Hi did come in a little hot with Romeo, like old school Rupert. Who voted for me? And Romeo said, that wasn't me.
I again that opening sequence. I when I was taking notes, I was again only taking it because I was like, I love this. This is so funny. Why are they dragging each other? It was a one vote, and I think Hai was like, I have not had a vote cast against me this whole time, but now Romeo, and I was like, okay, I see you're trying to be the no vote, but in a good way. Like no vote against me finalist, but
yes,
vote for me, yes, but against no. So it's Sandra. Listen, no vote, no one that votes against me maybe wins.
That's what Chanel had said about Hai was that he was very concerned about. He wanted to not just win, but have like the perfect game.
Yeah, but do you think? Wait, are you allowed to talk on your way back from tribal, or like you have to get to
Okay,
camp
so
and then
it
talk.
was my experience,
Yeah.
and maybe Survivor practices has changed. Okay, so you are either like playing the game like actively, or you're sort of in lockdown. And the
Got it.
reasons why they do this, it's not, I don't think is particularly scandalous. It's because that sometimes when they are like, you are like on your way in or out to different like parts of the game, that you're not being filmed, and so
Yeah.
that they don't want anything good to happen when they're not filming you. So when you are, and when you go to tribal council, you're going to wait and they're going to do like a health check on everybody, and they're going to put microphones on you, so that, because they're not, everybody has like a wireless microphone at tribal council. And while they're getting, and they might be waiting for it to get dark or whatever the reason is that you're being, it's like, hey, no talking, nobody's allowed to talk.
Got
So and then after tribal council, everybody walks out with your torch, and then, okay, stop, everybody stand still. All right, wait for whatever method of like transportation is going to take you back to the camp. And then, it might be like a long boat ride or whatever. And you see that a little bit in David versus Goliath when
Yeah.
like the boat hits a wave and they stop the boat and everybody gets out. So, you come back in the boat and there's no talking in the boat. Everybody has to
Okay.
be quiet. And, you're sort of like looking, but everybody, like, people are like falling asleep. And sometimes like the boat can be, more comfortable than, sitting on the bamboo in your shelter. And then you get back and then they say, okay, all right, now go, time in.
Yeah. Okay. Great. That's what I figured, because we never really see those scenes. So I'm assuming Hai is stewing this whole
Yeah.
time. I think Hai is like, I want to have a perfect. And this guy who was on the bottom thought he could
Mhm.
vote for me. So I'm assuming Hai works himself up, and then it's unleash time
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm thinking then happened.
Mm-hmm. And he knew it was Romeo. And Romeo said,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't me.
HYE.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my, yeah. So that's why I think so then it was like stewing. It was a pressure cooker that just
Like we
needed
said
to
about
get let
Stu.
out.
Yeah.
I am not sure that it necessarily will work against him in that way, but you already called us out with Jamal, but I also had made that note that Drea says someone, he's playing a good game. And me thinks it's Hai also, Rob. So that's why I think it's more that he maybe has like become like a target, like as in he's just become bigger, and like as in is around a little bit more and is talking and is in the mess, and maybe still trying to get Romeo out, and that's why it gets on him. But I don't know that this particular moment that Victoria pointed out isn't necessarily why. I think it's just like people, there is no one to vote. Who are you gonna vote? Who are you gonna vote?
Mm-hmm. What do you think is going to be the response from Drea when everybody gets back together in terms of the story of like, hey, because she's going to want to know, like, hey, why did we vote out Roxroy? He was with us.
And who answers that question, right, is maybe the person she's targeting, right? Like we said before, Omar, actual architect, but Hai was Mike was the messenger.
Right.
So to me, is Mike gonna tell Drea, hey, I actually loved Roxroy. We were in an alliance, maybe not the men's alliance.
Right.
But guess who told me?
Yeah.
This
And
guy.
Omar, he's like the little finger in all
Yeah.
this. Like, nobody's gonna believe that Omar is calling the why we don't listen. Like, Omar doesn't make the ideas. Hai is the
Yeah.
mastermind of all this.
So that's how I think Hai's like name will get brought up in the mix, as opposed to, I think, necessarily again like him and Romeo. I think him and Romeo, they're kind of just seeing it as like this like sideshow that happens at camp at this point, I feel.
Yeah. Okay. Let me bring in a question for you. Mac and Lauren asked a question about there has been virtually no talk of the shared amulet idol since the first episode. Do you think it will have a big impact in the final 8, or is this twist just a bust? It seemed really promising, but it hasn't materialized yet. Sasha, is the amulet going to come into play?
I keep going back and forth on it. I just to be honest, but I think that the amulet slash voting someone out and gaining the extra power, I don't think that's enough incentive to vote someone out. But I think that can tip the scale if the scale is like even and high versus someone. It's not Lindsay, right? So whoever else that does it, high versus Jonathan. uh Maybe I get High's amulet and he voted out rocks, right? Let's do it, So I
Hmm.
I don't from what it seems like in this edit, it doesn't seem like it's currently the issue, but I can see it as like the last, like the thing that
Yeah.
pushes it over.
So Lindsay was willing to vote out Drea in this
Mhm.
episode. She was on board
Yeah.
to go with that plan. So I wonder if we're starting to see like a point where there's like a tipping point of it started off with the three amulets, it's bringing us together, but now it's sort of like, okay, well, if we don't use it now, like these powers are going to expire. I could get an idol if I play my cards right here in these next couple of votes. Drea now does not have her her normal idol. She can
Yeah.
still steal Mike's idol, but I wonder, if once you have like a taste of like 4 advantages, are you hungry for more advantages no matter how you can get them?
Yeah, and especially now that you've burned your probably most important one.
Hmm.
So then does that start Drea thinking like, okay, actually I do have a way of getting the second idol. So why am I not, taking advantage of it? But like I said, I think I wonder if once High or Lindsay is out, then I think the other two will be like, "Oh, it's time." Because now I only need one out to get the idol. Let's do
Hmm.
it. So I think once one of them is out, oh, for sure, the amulet will, be what it's intended to do. But like I said, I think now it's gonna be the straw that broke the camel's back, not the main.
Hmm. Yeah, I just think that the way that I could see it is, if High ends up being the person who gets blamed for Roxroy going out
Yeah,
of the game, and
exactly.
where Drea is like, okay, because I feel like it's weird with Lindsay that Lindsay was ready to vote Drea out of the game, but I feel like coming out of that tribal council, I feel like that they are closer than they were going into it.
And then because it's the again, I was a potato truther also, so take me with a grain of salt. But Dre is talking to Lindsay, right? In the preview of he is a smart
Yeah.
player.
Yes.
So Amulet Queens talking to each other to be like, hello, maybe the two of us get together. And do
Hmm.
it. So now that's another layer to this amulet conspiracy. And watch
Hmm.
them be talking about someone else entirely.
Hmm. Yeah.
But educated guesses, I feel like we're making.
Right. Do you think that it's going to get back to the women in the game? And Roxroy said that, he wanted Drea included in the male alliance, but I wasn't sure if Drea knew about any of that while she was like going through these couple of days in the game. That do you think that word will get back to the women, maybe by way of Omar or High, of like, hey, just so you know, like there was a whole thing where the guys were trying to get a guys alliance going.
Right, and I'm trying to think if it's worth it, honestly, because then I'm thinking, why is Omer oh, so no, not why. Oh, so Omer and Hai are part, like the guys still see them as like they're above me, basically, in the pecking order. So if it was up to them, I don't know that I would share. Hai, maybe I think I can see, push comes to shove and he needs to like throw someone under the bus. But
Hmm.
oh, for Omer, I don't know that he should outright come because I think that's showing that people are talking to him and he can't play I'm the pipe piper of the people on the bottom because I feel you.
Right.
So I think he needs to be careful.
I'm just thinking that for now, there's only 3 women left in the game out of the 8
Right.
players. That I feel like that not that the women are saying like, "Hey, let's do like all women final 3," but I think that
But let's
in some way where they're sort of like the women are looking at each other, and it's like, well, if we let another woman go out of the game, like what are the chances that I'm going to be out of the game next, especially when there's already talk about the guys getting together and doing like and broing down. So like for Drea and Lindsay and Maryanne, like I would have to think that for a little while they're not going to be targeting each other.
Yeah, and that's part of Survivor, right? You have to be hyper aware of your surroundings. And I think part of that is seeing who's getting voted out, seeing who my natural allies are, right? And that's where all the complaining actually comes from, is like a lot of folks are cast one of one and don't have natural allies. So I am seeing that Maryanne, if I'm Drea or either one of them, I'm seeing, oh, these other two women are my natural allies. So I hope that they also see it and we can, at least have like a mutual ceasefire for a little bit and try to get some of these guys out. And I think they're smart enough to at least know of it, right? Like maybe they don't act that loud, but act on it maybe that in your face about it. But I still feel like it needs to be aware, and I can't imagine they're not thinking it. There's no way. Like, it's time, get some of these guys out. It's too much.
Yeah, I mean it's 5-3. Like it's not like super lopsided, but like it's or 5-2 would start to really be lopsided.
Exactly. And I think when it gets to 3, it becomes easy pickings.
Yeah.
Right. Like you just don't have the number. So what are you gonna do? So that's why I think you gotta maybe keep Omar high there, because they're not trying to be with the others.
Although it did get down to 4 men and 2 women last season before Erica won.
But again, Xander was like, no, I'm good. Like Eric, like Erica's not. So there needs to be some underestimating happening, which I don't think they underestimate. Maybe Maryanne. But do they underestimate Lindsay, right? Like I don't think so. But of course, the confessionals aren't there for Lindsay, so we don't know.
Yeah, although this could be like the beginning of a breakout for her this week. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you want to talk about some of the survivors' social media this week?
Let's
Okay, and again, I don't have a lot of mess that I do have, but that a lot of the survivors came out and made comments after the episode. And for the survivors, I mean, it's a lot for them to it's a lot for the survivors to go through on social media like on a normal week.
Yeah, I can't.
There's a lot of people, especially on the Twitter and the Instagram, on the comments, and when I played Survivor, you had to go look out. Like people were saying horrible things. Nobody was saying like, hey, like let's not bully. It was like, no, we should bully these people. They're on TV, but you had to go look for it. They didn't have the ability to like at you and say the horrible things to you. But you would go seek out the horrible things and say like, okay, let me see what the horrible things are. The Survivor sucks and like different message boards and stuff like that. So you had to look for it, but then you would look for it because you had to see what people were saying.
100%.
Yeah. Anyway, so for these survivors, they're going through a lot. We had some comments from them on social media. Maryanne posted on Twitter. Maryanne came out and said, the support for me has been overwhelming. Watching past Survivor players that have talked about socio-cultural issues on screen is what made me feel empowered to not sit back and allow a pattern to continue. Thank you so much for paving the way for me. Hashtag Survivor, hashtag Survivor 42.
Yes. Queen, I'm just glad that she's feeling the love because you deserve it, Queen. I can only imagine the hate. Queen, don't go on no Facebook. Okay. Forget that app exists. We don't need it. Just stay with us. And we will keep showering you.
Zach Wurtenberger tweeted out, so proud of my wife, hashtag Survivor.
When is the wedding? Please stop doing this to us. We are ready for it. While y'all playing us like this, please.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be a bridesmaid if you need. I got you.
Oh, well, you plan the bachelorette party.
Call me for I've been to 6. Okay. I
6.
think I've
Wow.
planned 5. So I got you. Okay, please. I
Mhm.
have the plugs everywhere.
Okay. Can you give us a little sample of what Maryanne's bachelorette party would be like?
Ooh, so Maryanne, I think we have to do some kind of like an improv show for her because I think Maryanne has the gift of gab. So, we maybe do some like funny improv moments. We have to do the pedal bike for her because let's tire her out a little. I think we have to get bottle service for the queen because she deserves to, be showered. So I think we get a bottle service and we make sure that the bottle people know that they have, a queen amongst them. Some bottle service, I think they have like the bottle girls on the what is it? Like, they hold
Mhm.
them up in that
Yeah.
little thing. I know the word in Hindi, but because they use them at weddings. But anyway, so they have the little
What's the
thing
little
that's
thing? Like the sparklers?
no, they carry like the bottle girl is sitting and then 4 guys are like carrying her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. On like I don't know the word.
Right.
Yeah, so I want Maryanne on that. We're gonna walk her around the club to know that she's the queen.
Parade her around, sure.
Exactly, and then all the bottle service people have to have Zach's face like as the mask. Not
Mhm.
Mission Impossible.
Yes.
Wait, just Etsy face on, and as they serve her, so she the queen remembers that she got the king waiting.
Mhm.
That's a
Wow.
sample.
Wow. This is incredible.
Call
Okay.
me.
All right. Yeah. Maryanne, reach out. Drea said, I respect everyone's thoughts and opinions. All I ask is that you respect my fellow #Survivor42 family. Be kind.
Who's the family though, Drea? That's what we got to know.
Yeah. Now, everyone's thoughts and opinions is a wide. You're casting a very wide net when you respect everyone's thoughts and opinions.
And we don't. And it's okay to say that. Some people are
You could say that there
stupid.
are some bad thoughts and opinions that are out there.
Especially the ones I bet you coming at her the dumbest. So,
Mhm.
Drea, I think we don't need to be so nice. Like we can I don't think she needs to drag. She has, power differential. She shouldn't do it. But I don't think you need to respect. I don't think everyone deserves respect.
Yeah, there are good opinions and there are bad opinions, and there could be like nuanced opinions that don't necessarily agree.
Yeah, that's fine.
Respectful discussion. You could do that. Don't see a ton of that always on the social media.
I'm not gonna. This is what I always say. I'm not gonna agree to disagree when it's my like rights or it's my what's the word?
Mhm.
It's my like safety
Yeah.
at risk that you're agree that it might be a discussion for you, but for me it's literally life or death.
Sasha, I know what my mentions were like the last couple days, and so I have like great empathy for anybody that's on the show right now.
We support. Listen, we'll champion you, and we will. No, actually, I'm out of the game. I will not drag people anymore. I'm trying not to.
Okay, yeah.
Try to be a good person.
You don't have to drag. Yeah.
I'm trying. Okay, Rob.
Yeah. Somebody, just this morning in my mentions, was telling me and Jamal that Survivor doesn't care about our feelings. Like, okay.
So they care about mine, and they will care about mine, and I will make it known.
No, I'm sorry.
that they care.
Facts don't care about your feelings. Somebody said to me this morning. I was like, okay.
So then, the facts are, baby, that we are not represented. So we will push to make us known and take up that space, sir.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
Again, I don't know
person.
what facts we're talking about. Like, we just talk about like, what happened on a TV show and then ask people what happened.
But that's what I can't help but laugh about, Rob, because people are like, facts don't care. But then it's like, is it facts or is it is it a reality show? Pick a side, because y'all wilding with this. Like, it's too much. Because the facts probably they're saying are like, the percentage, right, of how many, like the racial
I
breakdown
don't.
in the
You're
United.
giving this person too much credit, Sasha. I don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah, look at me respecting people that don't need respect. What's wrong with me?
Mhm.
You're dumb. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. And
I'm
then
so screwed
also,
after this
uh,
comes out.
I think you're fine. Lindsay also had a response to everything. Lindsay said, Survivor is a game, yes, but Survivor has also historically been able to prove that the social experiment is a microcosm of society. This is a major factor of why the game is so iconic. Drea and Maryanne spoke beautifully about a very real issue that unfortunately still happens today. Equality should be a right, not a privilege. I hope everyone watching was able to hear the truths of what still goes on today. We can use more compassion and empathy in this world.
Yeah, and it's even more than equality. I just want to say equity is more
Mhm.
important because I think it's almost like when you have equality, right? Like then things are equal for Jonathan, Lindsay, Drea, and Omar, right? But in reality, those four people are not the same, right? Their entry, what Maryanne said, right? Their entry into the game, like no, not everyone starts at the same same starting line, and some might get to the finish line faster, right? Just because of privileges they hold. So let's introduce equity where it's more about being fair and impartial and where some people might need more help than others to make things on the level playing field. So, just want to introduce that to people also.
Okay. One more from High, and this is High has changed his Twitter bio to the biggest weasel of Survivor 42. So he has a new Twitter bio. High says, I'm at a work event sponsored by CBS. There's a VP attending. I'm talking to him about his job, and he sort of like gives us like the whole dialogue back and forth. Him says, I oversee Paramount Plus services. High says, cool. He says, what's your go-to show? High says, Survivor. He says, huge fan. That's my go-to. And then High has several lines of me, him, me, him, me, him that are all blank. And then he says, cool, nice to meet you.
It's that meme, right, of Diddy staring at the guy.
Mhm.
Oh, that has to be the funniest thing. Oh, Paramount Plus app, man. What they doing out there?
Mhm.
How is this? How is Netflix and Paramount in the same streaming service game? Like what?
Yeah. So that is this person that works at Paramount Plus. Do they lie and say they watch everything? Is that what happened?
100%. They're not watching Survivor. That's a lie if they
Yeah.
watch Survivor. There's no way. How do you not know that? You're talking to someone that's currently on a show that you're where you work at is hosting.
Mhm.
That's embarrassing.
It's possible that High in his like normal clothes that you don't he's not in his island attire.
He's not like starving
Shirtless,
naked.
yeah.
Yeah, doesn't have a buff on. I understand that, but when you ask their name, like what's your name? How
That's
many
a very
highs are you
unique name.
meeting?
Right.
Yeah, in your
Right.
life.
Yeah.
Or did he think that he just said hi twice? Like hi. Hi, I'm hi. Like because
Yeah.
I'm not listen, I'm not the brightest crayon in the why did Hi not ask who your favorite Survivor player was?
Yeah. Are you watching the new season? I think there's a few different ways to
Hi, come
get
on.
into that.
Like, look, if we're gonna drag, we got to drag all the way.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you sharing this with us. But let's finish him.
Finish him. Yeah. Yeah. High's had some good stories on social media this season from things relevant to the show. Like he recently had to explain the Tinder versus Grinder debate
Yes.
very recently. Yeah.
Oh
So,
my God.
Mike also said, for the record, I'm not 100 years old. I'm 97. # senior citizen.
But you lie to Denny's to get a lesser discount? What you doing?
I don't think there's a bigger discount with Denny's. I think that you get that
Oh.
15%, and I think that's it. I think once you get to 55,
Oh, well, what a letdown.
well, you think that like when you get to like when you're 80, Denny's should give you like 40% off?
Yeah. Listen, if I'm 80 and I'm making it to Denny's and I'm alive after eating your food, like, please, I deserve 100% off.
That's not going to be at Maryanne's bachelorette party hitting up Denny's.
Please, it's a classy affair only. We will have IHOP. Duh.
IHOP is classier than Denny's.
Thanks.
Well, it is an international house of pancakes. It is like
exactly.
very classy.
Yeah, you know how this is.
Yeah. Okay. What about Applebee's? Will there be any Applebee's?
Applebee's, you're gonna sponsor part of the Bachelorette. We'll give you a shout out. Maybe our T-shirts, because Bachelorettes have to have same T-shirts.
What do you think? Should Maryanne's bachelorette party attend Applebee's?
Let's think about that for a second.
Okay.
And let's keep thinking about it and never circle back to it. How about that?
Let's do that. Let's think about that for a second. Okay. Maybe not. Maybe
my God, play that he's kind of an idiot to whoever suggests any of this.
Yeah. Sasha, anything else happening in the world of Survivor that you want to talk about?
Yeah, did you see Omar has a discount code for his emu shirt?
No, I did not. Where do I get that?
It's on his Twitter.
Okay.
But he like posted the shirt and he was, I forget how much % off. Apologies for not seeing that part. But he said you can now get the emu shirt.
Yes.
And
T-Bird had it. Yes.
T-Bird, did you get the discount?
Oza here is the discount for the emu shirt. I don't know if it comes in any other colors. Do you know how much it costs?
Yes. I have the link right here. Hold on a second. Oh, I did go to Twitter.
Yes. Yeah, so it does cost $35.
Yeah, it's 35, right? And then you get how much % off?
What's the Omar discount? The Omar discount.
Oh, it's a discount code. Oh,
Oza here. Yeah. So I don't know if he makes any profit on this. There are many reviews for the emu classic cotton t-shirt.
It's
not
only available. Yeah.
It's not available in 3XL. Okay. You can get it in 2XL, 4XL, or 5XL. They are sold out in 3XL.
And you can get a large, so that's nice. It's a nice sleep shirt. Can you imagine sleeping in this, Rob? And then someone comes to rob you and they just see this bird staring at you.
So there are some reviews that are posted on the emu shirt. So Joan said, I was attracted to this shirt because I was able to hand feed an emu at the zoo one time, and he was so gentle. Everywhere I go, people comment in a good way, but they think it's an ostrich. But that was still a 5-star review.
That does not look like an. Oh my God, I'm stressed because how can emus be gentle? I mean, I don't have I fed an emu? I don't think so. Joe Exotic did not have emus.
He did not.
It's for me to feed.
Laurie has a review with 5 stars. Says ICU, the letters ICU. Absolutely stupendous shirt. Now dubbed ICU because of its ever watching eyes. This shirt is a guaranteed conversation starter. Great quality product. It has spawned a growing wardrobe of similar shirts at my place.
Oh my God. Yeah, if you look down at the bottom, there's a lot of related products. The owl classic shirt is cute. I'm into it. For Harry Potter fans. There's jellyfish, and I would definitely wear jellyfish to people, or I will gift this to people I hate, and I'd call them a spineless jellyfish.
Ooh.
So you
is
have
that what High should have been called by Romeo?
Yeah, better than calling an Asian man sneaky. That's for sure. That's what I'm saying. Drag. I'm never against dragging people. Just do it correctly. You know what I mean? Like if someone use their right pronoun, we're gonna drag, but we're gonna do it right.
Do it the right way. Do it the right way. Yeah. Have some class, people. Okay.
Please. Okay. Get your life together.
Christina B also had a 1-star review of this shirt. This is terrible customer service. The shirt is good, but service is horrible. I placed an order on January 1st, 2022, and I still have not received it. I've called and was cut off 3 times. I left voicemail messages, email, and no one will respond. I've been charged for the new shirt and have not received it. Very disappointing. Well, how does she know that the shirt is good?
Yeah, that means that she got another shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Or have you the website is the Mountain, so it's like, did you call the Mountain and get maybe the spineless jellyfish, or did you get this rainbow dolphin? Like what's going on?
I don't know.
And
All
this,
right,
but you know where you can send voicemails to the feedback show, and they will be
Yes.
answered.
Well, yes. I mean, we'll listen. We'll listen to them.
Yeah, maybe
always.
we won't. Yeah, but Rob will hear. That's a
We'll
big
hear your
deal.
voice. We'll hear your voice. And if it's good enough, we'll put it on the show. Okay. Have you considered voicemails for the mess magnets?
It can be anonymous.
What if you have a voice
Unless,
changer?
yeah, Rob, who's doing that work? Like,
Mhm.
please, it's a vibes only podcast.
It's vibes only.
It's not high
Okay.
production. Only
Voice changer or not vibes. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, Sasha, of course, we can hear you and Kirsten every week talking about mess magnets. Any messy celebrity stories you're working on at this hour?
Yeah, there's so Meg the Stallion got, or Megan the Stallion. I don't know why I call her
Yes.
Meg, like she's my friend. She is, but
I like that you shorten the Meg the Stallion.
I don't know, here I am.
Mhm.
And so she went on with Gail and actually did an interview about her like getting shot by rapper Tory Lanez.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So she like finally spoke her truth. So we're trying to figure out how to work that in, because we just did a whole trial thing already.
Right.
So we're not trying to do it again. And then we obviously have Kardashian drama always. What's
Yes.
new? But we love that because Kanye apparently got Kim's sex tape part 2 back, even though they are divorced.
Oh, okay.
So amicable. We love amicable divorces.
Mhm.
So so there's always some tea with that, and then there's always some Photoshop mess that we'll be talking
Photoshop
about.
mess. Yes, with the Kardashians.
Rob, why can't they hire a good Photoshop person?
Yeah,
I
well,
don't understand.
I thought it was so interesting, and then you had said that you were looking at Kim's pictures and said, you were looking at Pete Davidson differently, and then realized that he was being photoshopped.
I mean, listen, I love a good job. What can I say? But allegedly Photoshop. But then she did put out stories, which we in next week's Mess Magnet you'll hear about disputing all of that. Basically saying she didn't Photoshop him. He's just a snack all by himself. Because according to her, you cannot Photoshop live pictures, and you're a billionaire.
Yeah,
and you can't afford
on.
Photoshop.
Yeah. Are you watching the Kardashians on Hulu?
Only for Mess Magnets.
Only
Yes,
for Mess
I
Magnets.
am.
Yes.
It's Rob. I'm a sicko. I'll watch it all. What can I do? Okay.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Okay.
But
That's
here
a
I
big
am.
get for Hulu.
Yeah,
I think Hulu's having
it
a
is.
comeback, I feel like.
Well, it's because of Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Disney, Hulu. Well, if for Indians, it's Hotstar. If you know what that is, they basically bought out the biggest Indian streaming service. So all Bollywood movies are now on Hulu too.
On Hulu. Okay.
Yeah, which is appreciated, but it's a wild. Would recommend the Mess Magnets. It's really fun. And we try to explain everything so that even if you don't know what's going on, you understand. You're with us.
Okay, well, check out the Mess Magnets, and of course, if you subscribe to the Mess Magnets feed, you'll get the episodes a day early, and no ads here to get the show started.
Groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking. Okay,
I love it.
All right, that's at robswebsite.com/messfeed, and then Sasha, where else can people listen to everything you're doing?
Yeah, you can listen to me over on Post Show Recaps. We just wrapped up season 2 of Bridgerton.
Oh.
Yeah, which was wild because we did season 1 and season 2 in 3 months. I don't know. Don't ask me math. But alleged something like that. And we wrapped it all up so you can listen to me and Kirsten and Geneva and Sarah Carradine on there with a bunch of fun guests. Mike Bloom was even.
Mike Bloom was really into Bridgerton.
Rob, have you seen Bridgerton?
I saw season 1, but then I heard that from my wife that season 2 not as good as season 1, but Mike Bloom was like, oh my God, season 2 was he was
so hot as Mike Bloom.
He found it very, very hot.
Because it's actually not a lot of sex scenes.
Yes,
but
he said no, but it didn't need it.
If you read the book, I will say, I'm on, which I hate to be that person. What a snob. But, if you read the books, this story particularly wasn't as good, but every other story, will be better than the books because the books weren't as strong. But the main person, Kate, who's the love interest, is Indian. So, I had to go hard for Bridgerton. And it was fun. So much fun to talk about over on post show recaps. We also have our own feed. So look up Bridgerton post show recaps and you'll find us everywhere. And you can hear me talking lots of other things on my Twitter at funsize_04 as well. And I can't believe I was on a Survivor feedback show, Rob.
Yeah.
It's a dream.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
We have to do it again. Love getting to talk with you about everything that's going on. So I'm glad that we figured out a time to do this. If you haven't checked out my podcast with Jamal, I think it was really great. I love talking Survivor with Jamal. That he is always very insightful talking about the game. Working on another podcast also for you this week. In addition to the Survivor Academy, Lindsay Wilson will join me this weekend for the Patrons of Rob's podcast, talking about what future players can take away from this week in Survivor and what we learned. That's for the patrons at robbinswebsite.com/patron, not to mention everything else in our Survivor podcast feed, including Bryce and Wendell are going to get together for the Survivor news in the Purple Pants podcast. So that is all in our Survivor podcast feed, including Why Blank Lost, the Survivor Stock Watch, the B&B, and also Survivor Global with Shannon Gus. Lots of podcasts every week talking about Survivor. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.